Shogun going to decide against it instead. Lock down the tree on the Caitlyn.
Yeah, so last time around they locked it in with the rotation of Misfortune and Maokai, but of course when Maokai is open, you pretty much want to grab it. Does still leave open the Misfortune. You can still go for support that can contest the push, like Hecarim as well for Unforgiven, or Kaiser rather, if that's what you're looking for. But the jungle pool will also start to get trimmed if Elyoya doesn't get a champion he feels comfortable on here, and with Hecarim being up and available, that's pretty much just what you go for in that instance. Now, from the side of Armut, we have seen Gnar be up and something they prioritized before, and yeah, sorry, there you have it. Does come through. I mean, you just have to.
It was like, subtle. I actually confused myself for a brief moment, but really well played. Not too surprising.
I wasn't trying to.
Not at all. It worked really well. I will say, by the way, on that Hecarim pick in particular, both game played, both of them victories, both games of Gnar for Armut, both of them were victories as well.
And this is something you have to anticipate because Saigon Buffalo has been the team that wanted to bring out the SAC mid. Just hovering it there, Hasmed Lions, you are probably thinking, is that something we need to ban going into the second ban phase? And then interestingly as well, they have decided to opt in for the Morgana rather than the locks that we've seen so often. Now Morgana, of course, enables you with a black shield. That means you have to ban the Karma, because not only does Karma contest the push on a Caitlyn, she also takes away the black shield with a Mantra Q. So Enchantress actually does fairly well into Morgana because you mess with that black shield.
Oh man, nicely done. Let's see, where do you Kaiser and Unforgiven want to take this bottom lane? That is what we're waiting to see in phase 2. Taking their time on this next ban, and I think for the likes of Saigon Buffalo, once again seeing something different. This is a first-time Caitlyn, first-time Morgana at Worlds Play-Ins for Shogun and Taki. But when I take a look throughout the course of the year, I actually cannot see any Caitlyn games either here for Shogun, only one game for Morgana, so even different to what we've seen from their regional play.
Most certainly, but I really rate the Morgana pick. Something that Kaiser has been showing up with exceptionally is the fact that he's been playing the engaged champions. All of a sudden, you throw Morgana into that, and then majority of Kaiser's champion pool is just straight up countered. And you can even see it from the side of Saigon. They're not really looking to ban away the engaged champions. They're taking away the facilitators in terms of enchanters that could be annoying to deal with. And then in the mid lane for Froggy, it's going to be the Vex. We saw Nisqy on it yesterday. He looked amazing. This time around, he's going to deal with it on the opposite side.
What does this do for the rest of the composition? As we see, Taki needs to lock in our top laner for Hasmed, leaving it, despite the fact Gnar was first rotations.
Are we looking for, like, with that time? I'm so curious to see what actually going to be the one that's going to contest the lane here, because I don't think there is anything that can contest the lane of a Caitlyn and Morgana that's currently up and available. I think that's why you see them go for the Tahm Kench here. Could still look for a center if you want to. Very easy to lock down though, but of course the Tahm Kench would be there to gobble you up. But AD carry options, Feli is out of the way, Draven out of the way. You don't have too many long range options at least. Saya could be a pivot, but that would be something we haven't seen in a while.
Let's find out in just a moment. Where do you think this Maokai is going as well? That could be top lane, that could be jungle. We'll find out in just a moment. It'll be the Jinx locked in for Unforgiven. So, for a little bit more scaling, get that reset, movement speed. Hecarim and Jinx run at you. And Saigon Buffalo one last pick.
Yeah, actually Siva could have been a good pivot there as well, but Jinx as well with long range, some hyper carry to play for in the late game. So far, you don't have too much lockdown outside of the Maokai, but of course Tahm Kench is there to be that cleansing effect. If you lock in the Gwen, that's great for side lane pressure. That's still, of course, good in a team fight, but it doesn't really help with locking down the Jinx. So lack of engage, most of it has to come through from the all-in that we'll currently see with Saigon Buffalo. From the side of Might Lions, you have all-in potential, but also disengage, of course, with the Tahm Kench. But one thing is for certain, it's going to be very bot-heavy focus from the side of Saigon in the early game.
Well, that's not a surprise. If there were a statement that you were to say, that would not catch me off guard. Saigon Buffalo playing around Shogun and Taki? No way. These are two players that this entire year have stolen the hearts and the laughter of everyone around the world. They did it at MSI and they've done it here at Worlds. They get down, they want to fight, and they want to scrap.
This is the broadcast where we make the bold statement.
That's it.
As you can tell.
That's what I like to see and hear.
I'll give you another one. Mad Lions. Usually it's about that mid-jungle. I know. Bold to assume, but
statement.
I know. Will have to come through.
Now the question is, how...
And when you play against a team like Saigon Buffalo, he'll try and contest you at pretty much every given moment. If you get overconfident and take a team fight that you think you win, but you don't, well, that's the game flipped on its head.
Well, that's exactly how Mad Lions lost to DRX yesterday. Had significant advantage, went for that Baron play. Did not work out for them.
And some dumbass dad in the bot lane.
That too. Now let's talk a little bit about this early game. Obviously, Elyoya is on that Hecarim, and when we take a look at BeanJ playing the Maokai, I think, obviously, a lot of contests to be anticipated. Shogun and Taki, we know they like to play aggro. They've got a 2v2 that will have some advantage in the early stages. Where else should we be focusing, Guldborg?
Well, we're so close, at least in the rune sets here in the beginning, to have full precision, the perfect coming through from Mad Lions, but in general, I think it's just going to be about these objectives that you don't necessarily have to focus on the roles too much from the get-go. If you take a look at the top lane, Gwen, of course, will be pushed in a little bit, but then after that, something to play for later when she picks up the first item. Mid lane as well, with Nisqy, if he's enabled on the map, same can be said for Froggy. They both have as a facilitating playstyle, and the bot lane of Unforgiven and Kaiser are playing way more on the back foot, where Shogun and Taki, well, they're looking to be aggressive. And then after that, that's really just how they rotate the pressure around for the objectives.
Okay, well, let's see who gets that early advantage. And just before any action breaks out, Taki and Shogun standing inside the bush. Dark Binding, somewhat anticipated, easily sidestep by Unforgiven. I want to just talk about Unforgiven and Shogun for a brief moment, because in terms of the damage share for their respective teams, when I look at Mad, it's pretty split between the carries. 24.4% for Armut, 27.7% for Nisqy. Maybe higher than expected, but still looking good. And Unforgiven's at 25%. Now I want to contrast that very quickly. Froggy with a couple Galio games, 23% of his team's damage. Shogun, 33%. So just like you talked about, Guldborg, all throughout the play-in stage, Shogun has been the tip of the spear as far as damage is concerned. Let's not forget that Froggy is playing a supportive role. Taki and Shogun, this time round, they've been bullied backwards. Level 2 for Unforgiven and Kaiser, they take advantage of it immediately.
Yeah, great stuff from Unforgiven on Kaiser. Kaiser specifically, because as soon as the Dark Binding was down, he knew he could get aggressive despite being melee. Now, forced to flash though.
That was almost a straight line. That flash, I was about to yell at. Kaiser gets out by the skin of his teeth. Summon spells traded 2 for 1 on the side of Saigon Buffalo.
Yeah, so now lane goes back to the way it kind of was supposed to go. Mad Lions, they had a window where they almost got a kill on Taki, together with the CC chained up with the Flame Chompers. But after that, it is still Caitlyn Morgana. You get hit by one binding, you pretty much die, and even more so now that Kaiser doesn't have the heal available. Elyoya has path down here as well, so has BeanJ, potentially to secure his bot lane to get the crash in. Then you can get aggressive, see if you want to get a ward on enemy Raptors, get the intel. Elyoya, though, has to be careful if they overcommit. It's a big wave they might be fighting into, and now seeing the Scryers bloom, they should have the intel.
Remember, there's no flash available for Taki's Morgana. Elyoya steps forward, gets pinged out, immediately backs away. Top lane playing out exactly as expected. Guldborg, Armut pushes in early. Hasmed, snip, 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 ghosts up, chases forward. Hyper proc for Armut, 150 HP, continuing to get away. Underneath the tower, Hasmed stays just out of range, takes one shot, correction, and backs out. Armut bold, holding on to that flash.
Oh, most certainly. I would have seen most people flash out of that situation. Armut, though, apparently knows the limit. Ice filled, or rather veins filled with ice. Here comes that Raptor invade I talked about with the bot lane power you also have, but BeanJ.
Ooh, takes a tongue lick slashing, but Nisqy and Elyoya not going to chase. I like the idea of ice filled with veins. That's a much more gruesome visualization.
Yeah, well, we are getting close to October if you want to have some Halloween inspiration for that one.
That's it. Dress yourself up as an ice cube with some veins in it. I will say, I want to have a little bit of fun with this bottom lane duo because there's so many traps. Once Shogun starts putting a couple of points into that Yordle Snap Trap, I want to look at Flame Chompers versus Snap Trap. I think there's a little mini game that can be played by both of these bot lanes to try and gain control. Before that, though, we're going to rock out on some Guitar Hero Hecarim, looking for a devastating charge into the back of Froggy.
Yeah, so it could potentially be forced to... Ooh! Flash, and BeanJ as well making his way down towards the bot lane. He can straight up just walk into the lane and force Unforgiven away, especially when he sees Elyoya up here.
Devastating charges available. Froggy flashes over the wall. Elyoya's going to be happy with that one. So, Hasmed able to push back Armut in the top lane. In the middle lane, Elyoya replies, and in the bottom lane, there's a 10 CS difference already. A plate has been secured already. And I think the Caitlyn Morgana taking a lead in the early stages of the game, that's not going to surprise anyone.
No, I mean, the game plan, as always, with the Caitlyn Morgana is choke out your lane opponents, pick up plates for yourself, get the plates, move on to a different lane, move up to Herald, and then you keep rotating this Caitlyn around the board, and wherever she goes, you kind of just pick up the plating. That's the ideal situation with it.
Let's find out how well they move their players around the map. Taking a quick look throughout some of the early stats. I mean, for Saigon Buffalo, 60% of the games, they get first blood. When I look at Mad Lions, it's the same, actually. So, out of the respective 5 games. Right now, no kills secured. 600 gold advantage for Saigon Buffalo. Junglers level 4 apiece. Mid lane is getting close to level 6. So we've had a lot of trading, no kills secured. One thing I remember from cooldown yesterday, Mad Lions had nearly 3 times the amount of kills per game that we've seen from Saigon Buffalo. They've shown a little bit more temperament this time around as Elyoya is making his way top.
Now, there's, of course, a few points of attack you can still go for here. Top lane, Hasmed had, now it's pushing in, had a slow push before earlier, and he did not have the Ghost, which of course could be a point of attack for Elyoya. The second one is in the mid lane where Froggy no longer have the flash, so for Elyoya, getting that level 6 would be crucial. Jumps in here though.
Alright, devastating charge is unavailable, knocked back onto Hasmed. Remember, no Ghost, no flash, locked inside the minion wave. First blood! Mad Lions. Not done yet though, as a target in the bottom lane for Kaiser. So many kills available to him, and BeanJ won't be able to do more, but that first kill claws it back, and it is secured by Elyoya.
Yeah, and that's a big wave that Hasmed is going to be missing out on there. Armut got the push, he got level 6 beforehand, and that allowed him to get in.
Oh, Nisqy jumping forward, he's hijacked away that Shadow Surge, waiting to see if he pulls the trigger. Froggy's down below 50%, but under the tower. And immediately, Nisqy again hits that level, goes aggressive.
It's also just the fact that they don't have the info right now where the BeanJ could be on the map. The vision's just not there to facilitate it. They're going to scout around now, see whatever vision they can get. But look at the map right here. Like, good credit to Saigon Buffalo's 2 pink wards here, and Mad Lions haven't even spotted them yet.
And very important as well, Elyoya as well as Nisqy mid-jungle. I know it's come to be expected from this team, but the first gank that successfully got the flash from Elyoya was in the mid lane. We saw there a little bit of pressure. The Scuttle Crab was secured by Elyoya. I believe that pink in the river's just been cleared out, and on the minimap, Elyoya is doing the same thing now in the jungle. So both of those wards now cleared. Elyoya are going to be very happy with that. The top side of the map going in favor of Mad, bottom side of the map going in favor of the Buffaloes.
Yeah, and I wonder how Mad Lions are going to be playing around with their timings now, because for the side of Saigon, they're just going to keep the pressure going on the bot side, but Mad Lions have kind of displayed they're not really looking to bail them out. They're looking to attack elsewhere. So I imagine as soon as Elyoya get that level 6, they want to try and abuse the fact that Froggy's flash is still down. And if you can get a mid lane kill, then afterwards you can bridge the priority down towards bot side. BeanJ still looking. Elyoya, level 6, advantage.
Ooh, Onslaught of Shadows available. No Nature's Grasp. Fight for those rocks. Collect the rocks. BeanJ takes a couple rockets to the face. Unforgiven was low. There's no engage just yet. Froggy now getting jumped on, smacked by the chains. Here comes Elyoya. No 6 for BeanJ, remember. Devastating charge into the wall. Onslaught of Shadows causes the fear. Froggy's below 200. He's about to go down. The shield keeps him alive for a few seconds longer. Not enough to save his life. Dragon has been enlisted to help out the Saigon Buffalo. And it's called the snap trap. Holds Kaiser in place. Second kill, Mad Lions.
Yeah, really good pickup there, noting that Froggy is down in position where he can get pincered up. 2 were aggressive from Nisqy afterwards, walking over, or rather flashing over the wall. Unforgiven was not in a position to follow up, so man advantage was in favor of Saigon. But either way, you take those kills and you get out.
Very nicely done. Armut once again under some threat. Flashes available to him. Needlework and snip, snip, snip from Hasmed. He's dropped the Ghost, flashed away from Armut, now below 200, underneath the tower, and Hasmed will once again fail to complete the kill. Armut's up 15 CS and stepping back into the well.
Yeah, but definitely not clean from Armut either, missing the boomerang in that exchange, trying to get up the Gnar bar just so he can survive a potential dive, but once again, bot lane still under attack. Cleanse forced to come out from Unforgiven too.
Oh, look at the Flame Chompers up in the top lane. Hasmed now trying to trade back and forth. The boulder toss, the auto! Armut! He turned that around, adding pink Gnar to his champion pool. In the bottom lane, nobody able to secure that kill. That was an impressive turnaround from Armut.
Yeah, and it's good tempo in the communications as well, especially when you consider the bot lane must be like, we need help, guys, we need help. But then Armut out of nowhere gets the solo kill through, boots the kind of mood and morale as well on the top side, knowing that you still have other things to play for. And now with Herald having spawned up on the map, with a mid lane with an advantage, with a top lane with an advantage, with a jungler that's suddenly 2-0, you should be looking to push the bot lane in, move your support up, and look for a Herald play.
It's going to be up to Shogun to really make use of this advantage. He's up 20 CS, he's secured 3 plates already. And that's why Saigon Buffalo are only down 500 gold, despite being down 3 kills. Rift Herald is secured here by Mad Lions again. And this, the Scuttle Crab, correction, has been secured there by Mad Lions, so they can use that vision, use that play. Rift Herald now starting up. No contest, so this should be secured as well.
Yeah, but the cross map on the side of Saigon Buffalo should just be like, well, they're using so many members on the top side. We can take the first turret for free on the bot side instead. So Mad Lions, they need to acknowledge that this is probably what's going to happen, and then they have a counter response which can be, well, we'll use the Rift Hell on the top side on the mid lane afterwards. But you can already see it on the map. Like vultures, Saigon Buffalo are just scavenging towards the bot side.
Oh man, whenever there's prey left in the fields of the savannah from Lions, the vultures do come to pick at it. But I will say, the fact that Mad Lions were able to secure the Herald, I don't want to like defend the fact that this tower's under pressure. Of course it is. BeanJ spent a lot of time. Shogun is now under threat. Nature's Grasp comes up. Flame Chompers locks down the tree. Elyoya's got the Shadows of Onslaught available. Nisqy's also hijacked himself. That Nature's Grasp. Do they pull the trigger? The trees are rolling. Neon trees flying forward. 1, 2 players rooted. The Mad Lions will not chase further. They've defended the tower. They secured the Herald. There's a possibility they could even look for Dragon if those recalls complete. Not going to go for it right now.
No, but they can look to extend the tempo as well. They know that they're going to be on reset time, as they know Froggy's still towards the bot side. So if you wanted to use the Rift Herald, there was potential for it to get free platings.
Well, that gold lead still only 300. Very important to note that Shogun's Caitlyn has picked up the Kraken Slayer. He is still plus 20 odd CS over his opposite number. You can look at the gold. Armut and Elyoya leading the charge, then Nisqy, somewhat to expectation. And this is where, if you are a fan of the Buffaloes, you got to keep an eye on Shogun's positioning. Gnar's going to be jumping from, Hecarim's going to be flying for him. If Nisqy's able to get past that front line, he'll do the same. Right now, he's roaming top.
Nisqy barely any mana. BeanJ still towards the bottom side. So when they show all these members on the top side, the rest of the members on Saigon Buffalo, they're just going to handshake it and they're going to move immediately down to bot side.
I mean, Guldborg, this is huge for Mad Lions. They defended that bottom tower push from Buffalo. They got their Herald. They've used it to secure tower. They've accelerated Armut even further ahead. He's 2,000 gold ahead of Gwen. Look at your screens. 2,000 gold is crazy at this stage of the game.
I'll be honest with you, he was definitely not the member I expected to show up today in the first game, and it was close as well. It was on a knife edge on some of the kills he picked up. But the fact of the matter is that he did, and he's actually been looking really good on that Gnar on the top side.
Armut may not be getting Gnar for many more games this series. That was what one would assume. He still has that Aatrox available to him. We've seen that played out. Hasmed, Gwen, so far, been unable to press the advantage. But let's not forget how difficult that Gwen can be in the late stage of the game. And yes, there's a gigantic gap in the top half of the map for Mad Lions, but it is somewhat mirrored on the bottom half.
Yeah.
So that means Saigon, they have to utilize Shogun and Taki, the advantage they've accrued to some degree, to try and slow things down. But you cannot be out of position, otherwise that Hecarim Gnar will jump on you.
Yeah, and I mean, 1k gold lead barely matters. Like, you are ahead, but it's still not far enough ahead to the point where you can make mistakes in a team fight and the enemies can't capitalize. So, from the side of Saigon, once again, they break open the bot lane with this Caitlyn. Now they're going to move her around the map to see what else they can get, because she is the spear in this composition. And
BeanJ is now looking to shut down Pink and Armut. His flash is on cooldown, if I'm reading that correctly. Starting to back out, got that hyper proc. On the mini-map, multiple members of Saigon are pushing through the middle lane.
Armut's alone here, but he's bluffing. He's saying, I'm going to pretend like I have someone in the back end of my pocket here, because walking up there should have been straight up just a kill for them.
He's got the Trinity Force completed, the Merc Trades as well. It's thrift store shopping for Hasmed and BeanJ, and he was about to ping on Mega Gnar here. Level 10 to level 10. Froggy's making his way up. Actually, so many Buffaloes are. The herd is arriving, and the Predator has become the prey. Armut gets needled work down. He's chucked out the boulders, walloping and crunching, and the first kill for Buffalo secured onto Armut.
Yeah, and Armut finally gets punished. Way too overextended there. Believes he's going to get out of the situation a bit more scot-free. That was not the case. Could have procced the last hyper as well with the W to get some more movement speed, but decided to use the ultimate. In turn, though, he is pretty much on a solo mission. They're going to be losing some damage on the bot side turret, but turret damage will be traded on the top side as well. So once again, don't really see the idea of being so overextended.
Yeah, right now the pressure in the mid lane was captured by Mad Lions. They pushed it back out. You can see Shogun currently defending. Tower traded, maybe. There's no one here to defend, so if Nisqy sticks around, he can secure it. And in contrast to the first game that we saw between these two teams, this has been a little bit cleaner from both respective teams. But because of the power differential between the top and the bottom half of the map, this gold difference, again, stays steady at 1,000 as we crest the 15-minute mark. 2 towers apiece, second dragon spawning in 2 minutes. So, Guldborg, let's keep our eyes on vision setup, and if either of these teams is going to make a play to secure that.
And I actually really like for Mad Lions that the game is so slow for them, because I think one of the weaknesses that Mad has, well, it's clearly also a strength. This is a team that really wants to be proactive. They want to be the team that makes the play. They want to be the team that dictate the pace of the early game. The problem for them is when they meet a team that want to dictate the pace just as much as they do, they try to one-up them. They try to play faster. And when they try to play faster, it gets messy. So just stylistically speaking, I always thought that the VCS would be difficult for Mad because they play a very kill-heavy game. But this time around, it's been very slow, and it's allowed Mad Lions to just play their game.
Shogun and Taki have been putting the tower pressure on. BeanJ hasn't been able to set up the kills just yet, and Hasmed's tried. He's tried to kill Armut, but didn't work out. I do want to draw everyone's attention again briefly to your itemization. Shogun's got that rapid-fire cannon completed. Just a moment ago, Unforgiven finished his Kraken Slayer, and this could be a 4v4 as two members of Mad Lions flanking each side of the Buffalo. Elyoya's coming in from behind. Guldborg, do you reckon he goes for the engage?
Oh, you can certainly look for it right here. They're going to get pincered. Armut almost mecha.
Gnar. The trap is available. Mad Lions, do they pull the trigger? Holding on to it for now. Nature's Grasp was hijacked away. Both of these teams showing a level of restraint that is frankly shocking to me at this point in time.
Yeah, but they also just still have the setup. You can see here Riftail has been started out. Armut is still on the back end of that if he wants to flank. No flash available, but Saigon Buffalo, what are you committing to a place here?
We're going to find out. Riftail's just about to get secured. The hijacked Nature's Grasp is thrown down. BeanJ's locked in place. He fires out one of his own and everybody lines up. Gnar will whiff, and the unstoppable onslaught will at least slow people down. Rocket after rocket. Unforgiven's looking to get excited. Zap won't find its target. The boomerang does, and Mad Lions, they get the Herald, they get a kill, and they get out.
Yeah, and Drake spawns up in 20 seconds as well. You can go for reset timers here and be ready to contest the next objective. Is that what you're looking for? Sylas ultimate has a really low cooldown. You can't take the Maokai ultimate, but you can still look for the Morgana instead. And Saigon, they just become so split. Two members are trying to deal with Armut on the back end. Only one member can get the Black Shield. So as BeanJ's just kind of stand there to get a taste of his own medicine, well, that Sap Magic doesn't really taste as good as he thought it was going to do as he just gets taken down.
Man, for Mad Lions, such a controlled passage of play the last few minutes. Very, very happy faces.
Mediocrely happy. I've seen happier.
I mean, Mac is quietly confident. When you look at his face long enough, that little smile is controlled. It's also game 1 in the best of 5. But the way it feels to me right now, Guldborg, do you have an older brother? No?
I am the older brother.
Fantastic. So, when you look at your younger siblings, you put your hand on their forehead and say, why? Try to reach me. Their arms are too short. They can't swing. That's what it feels like Mad Lions have done. They've fended off the aggression of Shogun and Taki. They're still 0-0-0.
I'm going to stop you there. My little brother is taller than me.
But you get the idea.
I understand the idea. Yeah,
That's
sorry.
what
Yes.
I wanted to hear.
There you have it.
And right now, Mad Lions, they pick up the second dragon of the game. We're playing for an Ocean Salt on the Ocean Rift. That's now updated. That gold lead still very close, 2,000. But I think it's crucial where the difference is in who has the advantage. It's the engage options for Mad, which in theory, in my head, makes their team fighting just a little bit easier to kick off to start. They've got that small advantage.
It's also just the longer the game goes in terms of if Unforgiven gets a reset, he's going to have way more value as an AD carry that Shogun's actually going to have. Shogun likes to play around rotations as a Caitlyn. In terms of your cooldown, in terms of fighting the headshot. It's the reason why you also buy rapid fire cannon so often on the Caitlyn. You want to outrange, you want to get some damage through, and then you wait it up again and find the poke. She's really good in siege situations where she's the one that gets to set up the objective first. Problem is for Saigon, they've not been in a situation where they actually were the one to set up for the objective themselves.
And I think the Flame Chompers as an answer to that Caitlyn setup as well, both sides having a fair amount of zone control. The fact that Nature's Grasp can be hijacked as well, steal that away when Gnar's up, definitely has an influence. So, like, positioning around these fights that are to come will be so important. Second item we just saw picked up a moment ago for Armut. He's got himself that wit's end. So definitely wanting to stand toe-to-toe. He's got that advantage over Gwen. Keep Gwen down for as long as you can. Deny one of those keys to victory here for Saigon in terms of activating Hasmed on us.
Oh yeah, and I think as Saigon, you don't have to be too nervous. This is the point in the game where Mad Lions usually start to show cracks in their gameplay. Really have not been as clean as they wanted to in terms of closing out games. So you can already see they still have decent good vision control from Saigon. You also have the saplings to play around with. You don't have to overreach anything. It's not like you're on timer with the Soul. Even then, the Drake, individual Drakes, are going to be Ocean. They don't matter very much in the mid game as an individual Drake. More like really good for laning phase if you can get the first one.
Now, of course, for the Mad Lions, and a little bit of hopium on my side.
Oh, yeah?
This is a little bit more of what I think we saw yesterday against DRX in terms of the level of control.
And how did that go?
In comparison to the previous 4 games. So, for the first 20 minutes, if you look at the 6 games that Mad Lions have now played, this is on the back end of their group stage. Starting strong, starting clean. A 5-man stack here from the Mad Lions, plus the Rift Herald. Teleport is being channeled and Hasmed's making his way. He's held on to that cooldown. Once again, that hijack Maokai ult is thrown down. Nisqy needs to be careful of the snap trap. Sidesteps at Elyoya's devastating charge is lined up. And just the threat alone, the zone control, allows Mad to pick up that tower with the use of the return.
I mean, the Maokai ultimate is so broken.
Yes.
The problem that Saigon is facing right now is that it's more broken on Nisqy than it is on BeanJ. Black Shield can only get utilized on one person. This time around, it was BeanJ who got the Black Shield. Who did that leave anyone out to dry? Shogun, forced to cleanse away. BeanJ, then again, getting picked apart by the rest of the CC following up. Mad Lions barely have to do anything. And you just wait till that Maokai ultimate is available for you.
And Guldborg, if everybody lines up, one in a line straight behind a target so they don't get rooted, well, then you're a fantastic target for a Gnar or Hecarim. So there's a lot of great synergies in the engage tool.
But also just the way that it's actually sent out here by Nisqy, because exactly as to what you say right here, if they all stand against the wall there, they're going to get absolutely demolished afterwards. It's such a good angle to just zone people down away from the turret.
Very elegantly done. This will extend Mad Lions' gold lead to something that's, I think, more meaningful. 3,000 gold at the 21-minute mark. They've got 3 towers to 2. More importantly, the flow of the game has been dictated by Mad Lions. It's Elyoya's ganks and movement around the map, plus Armut's ability to fend off Hasmed in the early game that truly has allowed them to get to this point. And that Jinx, despite still being down 30 CS, has got the second item completed, is now moving into the phase of the game where you start to prefer Jinx in these next 10-15 minutes than you do a Caitlyn.
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh, I mean, I already prefer it now. Even with an item behind, I'm not gonna lie to you, just because of what's built around it. The fact that even if they get the great pickup from Saigon Buffalo, if they get on towards Unforgiven, well, Kaiser's just going to be there to gobble him up immediately.
Okay, so Guldborg, let's turn our perspective to that of the Saigon Buffalo. They have been pushed around, but they have managed to pick up cross maps. They have managed to pick up a kill of their own. How do they claw back control from Mad Lions?
Well, it's once again about finding these pickup and vision pockets. You can even see it now. Mad Lions, they're playing a 1-3-1. Usually we don't see teams try to go for this too much because there is the risk that you'll get picked apart. And that risk is, of course, in the mid lane as well here, where you can see 4 members against the 3. Nisqy now, after having pushed in bot lane, will then move into the mid lane. But as Armut is pushing up the top side, they'll have to respond to the pressure at some point from Saigon Buffalo. And you have to wait as Mad Lion. You cannot go forward in the mid lane before someone stops Armut. And if they don't, that's great. You just get a turret for yourself.
I mean, where Buffalo's hunting there, it looked to me like they were trying to set up a death bush. No response top, so Armut keeps pushing. Exposed inhibitor, there's nobody back there, so the tower's dropping before this dragon will even drop. Mad Lions will steal the red buff away, and now that is an open inhibitor for Mad Lions.
And just like I said with Mad Lions, that, you know, Saigon Buffalo don't have to be worried about them picking up the Drakes because it's not going to do too much. Well, it's the exact same thing. This Ocean Drake isolated in terms of playing against the composition of Mad Lions right now, it's useless. It doesn't do anything. So Mad Lions, they'll happily get 2 turrets for themselves, open up a pathway to the topside inhibitor, and get control around the Baron area. Starting up the Baron here might be a little over-aggressive, but so far it's working out for them, and Saigon, they're not actually checking.
There's no movement yet. Taki finally stepping forward. Stepping will reveal 4,000, 3,000, 2,000. Dark Binding's not going to be enough, and Mad Lions just sneak away the Baron. They managed to expose the inhibitor top. They extend the gold lead to 6,000. And this is a Mad Lions performance we have not yet seen. Crucially, though, we are still in that phase of the game where some bold calls have been made that have been punished by Mad, so they still have to play at this level of control to close out game 1.
Yeah, but let's be real. This game has been so clean for Mad Lions. Like, unbelievably clean to the point where it just looks like at them demolishing Saigon right now. Going forward, they shouldn't have to worry here. Like, just don't overextend anything. Armut's going to go back to what he did just before. He's going to push in the bot side. If Saigon want to continue to see if anyone ever bites in the mid lane, well, Mad Lions are just not going to bite. They're not going to walk forward, and they get objective to 3. This is just like, there's no point of attack for Saigon. All they're left to do is just watch everything around them crumble at the moment.
Especially with that Baron-empowered minions. Gnar is going to jump forward, hit the BeanJ Maokai into the wall. Elyoya, Onslaught of Shadows, 3 targets available. He's holding on to it. Again, tempered aggression just as I start ramping up the hype. Mad Lions, they're playing the map. Look in the middle lane. Nisqy is escorting those minions forward. Focus Saigon Buffalo down. Chunk them out. Take the objectives. You win the game through killing the Nexus. You don't need to overchase for fights. And this is what's happening. 2 more towers, Guldborg.
Yeah, and even then, Froggy forced to use the flash with Armut just jumping forward. He's really feeling himself in this series, and they're going to continue. Bot lane wave will collapse. Mid lane wave coming up through. Elyoya's going to back up Nisqy as well at the same time. And once again, Saigon, they're just watching everything around them crumble.
Armut's about to go Mega Knot once more, gets the knockback. There's the chase in from Shadow Surge, but there's simply not enough follow-up, not enough damage. Tower is secured in the middle lane, 7-3. And I think right at the beginning of this game, Guldborg, you talked about how Mad Lions have shown a tendency to initiate, to go forward, to try to accelerate the pace. This is calm and controlled aggression. Maybe aware and realizing, don't get down into the level of Saigon Buffalo, don't fight them at their game, because they might just be better at it.
This is a team that really wants to add a 1 best of 5 to their resume, at least coming out from this first game that we see. They're not taking any chances, as you're saying. And you're laughing, but I mean, it's true no, from the way that they're playing.
True. It is 100% true. It's just, I love the fact that Law spoke to Mac about it just before the interview. You heard Mac say, yeah, we had like a 2-3 BO5. It's not that bad. Those words tell you a lot between the lines of how he's feeling. But this is a statement opening game. Mad Lions still need to pick up 3 to advance to face down Evil Geniuses tomorrow. That final spot in the group stage. As it stands, they also need to knock over the Nexus, but it's minute 50 until Dragon. 10 seconds before the Red Bull Baron power play times out, plus 2,500 gold. But more important is just the way that they are moving around the map, the way that Armut and Elyoya, I think, are combining on the initiation, but backed up by Nisqy has been great. Kaiser will use that Devour, will just get rooted up. Shadow Surge forward. Kaiser's going low, the Abyssal Dive, not enough. Takes him out. Onslaught Shadows has been used. Teleport forward. Nisqy has stolen the grass. 2 members stunned by Nisqy once. More armor rather against the wall. Now Elyoya's taken out. Hasmed's got himself a kill. They've done Unforgiven damage and the resets. Get excited, but there's simply not enough. Shogun stays alive until he's facing down Armut. And Nisqy, 1 member remaining. And the Saigon Buffaloes are about to get aced. Mad Lions win the fight, but that looked close.
That looks so close. I just thought the Mad Lions were about to turn it around, but Nisqy shows off huge, comes in with a teleport, finds himself a triple kill. Still a wave to push on the bot side if he wants to open up that inhibitor turret. So despite this looking so good for Saigon Buffalo, they still don't manage to close out the deal. Fortunately for them though, this is probably not going to be the end of the game, and they pick up some crucial gold in terms of getting that Caitlyn to the 4-item power spike.
Right now the inhibitor's just about to fall, rooting BeanJ down in place, stepping forward to the Kingslayer and chucking those chains out. Taki's socks, shackles has been hijacked away, rooted up under the tower. Nisqy continues to push forward. That heals, keep him alive, but not long enough. It's a 2-for-1 as Armut will look for the second inhibitor as well. They're not going to find it just yet. The minions will be feared up. A couple more autos. Armut's thinking about it, looking for it, and will back away.
Yeah, and just before that, Nisqy was 0-0-3 on the Sylas. This time around, though, after just that 2-minute skirmish, he's 4-1-4, suddenly feeling himself, wanting some action in this game.
All right, there we go. With some backup from Kaiser and Elyoya. Second inhibitor, third inhibitor correction will fall. Top lane was taken down. Double supers will start pouring into Saigon Buffalo's base. Now, in my head, if you're in the Buffalo camp, you start thinking a little bit about this next game. It is going to be so incredibly difficult to come back. Saigon Buffalo will have side selection, and it is a long BO5.
I will give you 1 win condition, and that is when Caitlyn reached those 4 items. Like, you got the Lord Dominic's Regard. You will pick up an Infinity Edge. You will have crits and some armor damage to actually shred through these carries and front lines that you have from the side of Mad Lions. The big problem that Shogun is facing is that his front line gets blown up before he gets to play the game all the time. But if they can find a fight like they did before, where 1 member will extend, and they get the tempo first to make it a 4 versus 5, that could be what they're looking for.
You need that a couple times though, because that gold lead is now 7,000. They've got so many supers to deal with. So if Mad Lions use the mini-map to their advantage, they can look to set up another Baron. Baron-empowered double supers could be all they need to finish the game, but Baron could also be what Saigon Buffalo need to stall this out and claw back the deficit. That spawns in 10 seconds. Mad Lions just picked up their second dragon. And I think I want to give some credit again to just how the map has been played, how Mad have moved around their resources.
Yeah, I'll give you 1 point where they can actually find a way to win this game, and that if Mad Lions Elyoya get too over-aggressive. Because Elyoya currently does not have any armor whatsoever. So this Caitlyn is actually going to hurt like a truck against him if he overextends.
I mean, right now, Saigon Buffalo, they were looking for their engage. Pop down the movement speed from Taki. Weren't able to find the target. Bottom lane has got supers inside the base. So does the top. And as soon as they cross the steps, Mad Lion's back away. There is no way for the Buffaloes to contest or challenge this. They will be far too late. So it'll be second Baron for Mad Lions at 30 minutes. Now they just got to play it slow and steady. If they get caught out in those choke points, maybe there's a way there for Saigon, but they're looking for a small misstep, looking for that numbers advantage, just like Guldborg was talking
Yeah,
about.
but this is where it's
so
you won't find it now because the map is not going to be open for you. It's 2 double super minions coming through from every single lane. Baroned off super minions at the same time. You have to look for a miracle. BeanJ has to find some sort of flash engage on a target that's going to be available to him. But once again, the thorn in the side there will be the Tahm Kench, which is a really intelligent pickup against this team composition.
Let's follow Nisqy, see what he will steal away from Saigon Buffalo. If BeanJ steps all the way forward, I mean, that's Soul Shackles. Nature's Grasp has been used exquisitely. Once again, available. Nisqy looking to set up the angle as Armut is just using all of his kit in Mini-Gnar to take down Hasmed. He's forced away. Nature's Grasp goes out. Nexus turret, number 1 will drop. They're traded back and forth. Nisqy's cooldown on his ultimate, 50%. Will be able to hijack yet another. Boulder Toss tags out Buffalo, and Buffalo are trying to defend, but they are being overwhelmed.
Yeah, they most certainly are. You can even see your ultimates getting thrown up, but nothing's connected from the side of Mad Lions, though. They're getting the play in now. Desperation.
Hasmed is going all the way forward with their hallowed miss. Kaiser forced to flash to safety. That's a 1-for-2 trade. No Gwen, no Vex, no Maokai. Saigon Buffaloes are being eaten alive inside their base, and the Mad Lions will strike first in this best of 5.
It was a slow game this time around, but my god, was it clean from Mad Lions? And a new look to them, I'd say, in terms of how it was actually played out. Only they did look messy in the mid lane where the teleports came through from both teams and one member got caught off guard. But even then, they still won the team fight. So looking good in the first game.
I think the level of control demonstrated both from the advantage early and I think crucially the fact that Armut was able to fend off Hasmed, I think are 2 of the big things for me.
Oh yeah.
Had Armut gone down, had that Gwen had the side pressure in addition to the CS advantage of Caitlyn, this game would have looked completely different.
Yeah, because then you're losing on the bot side and you're losing on the top side, and it's so difficult to find any leverage back into it. So yeah, I guess huge credit to Armut from laning phase.
Does he get Gnar again? Does he get what?
I think he will. I think he will. Like, I genuinely don't think